Welcome to episode 88 of A Message From. We're your hosts. I'm Edward.
I'm Alyson.
And today we're talking about a series of unfortunate events, not the book, my life. But first, a multiple choice question. Alyson, what would you like to hear about first? You have 4 options. My knocking neighbor, my moaning neighbor, an Italian class update, or the apple cider debacle.
Apple cider debacle.
Okay, that's a quick and easy one. I made apple cider today, and while I was unplugging the crock pot, I dropped the crock pot plug directly into the apple cider was like, oh, did I just destroy this crock pot? And so now it's sitting in front of me in like a jar of rice, but it's probably fine.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's got.
I've definitely dropped a plug into something wet before, whether it was a crock pot plug or so, like, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It was just like so truly like one of those moments where like it hit out of my hand and I went, because I've been alone all day, right? So I'm talking out loud to myself. We get into that hour, and I went, and then I watched it drop in, and I went, and then I picked it up, but it like took a second.
I think it'll be okay.
But the apple cider is good. So it's worth it. And I think the crock pot is fine. I don't even know why I put it in rice that I have to not throw away. It's kind of annoying. But, you know, it's what it is.
Such as
anyway,
life.
What would you like next on my little menu?
Well, I'm really excited for the Italian update, but we'll save that for last because I'm really excited for it. So tell me about all your weird neighbors.
All right. These ones are also short. Earlier, and by earlier I mean like 3 hours ago, I was watching TV while eating dinner, aka here in this space that we are all in right now, right? Well, I'm in, right? And I hear a knock on the wall right behind me. And I was like, huh? So I stopped my music, or not my music, stopped the TV show I was watching. And I was like, okay, the TV show is kind of loud. But I was like, I'm very cautious and conscious of the noise that I make. Because like, you can hear everything, right? Like I make sure that like the door to the hallway is closed almost all the time because like you can kind of hear into other people's apartments. Like when these windows are open, I try to listen to music with my headphones on. I try not to sing because you can hear literally everything. Like I close the window when I flush the toilet, like all this stuff.
That's bold.
Well, just because it's not like, it's just like annoying to hear someone flush the toilet.
I do think about that often though. Like when I flush my toilet, when I have all my windows open, I'm like, someone's definitely hearing a toilet flush right now.
But yours is so far away from all the windows.
But every time I'm walking outside, I never hear a toilet flush. So I'm like, am I making it up? Am I imagining it? What?
That's what I was thinking too. But I'm thinking that my neighbors don't either open the windows to their bathrooms often or at all, / their bathrooms may not be like in the same section of the apartment buildings.
True.
That doesn't also make sense because I'm sure like all the bathrooms are like right above and below.
Yeah,
so.
I would imagine they're a stack, but
yeah. So, but I also don't know if anybody has patios like I do. So I don't know. But I never worry about this wall behind me. So when I got the knocky knock, I was like, well, I guess I have to worry about this now. And then what just happened 10 minutes before we signed on to this Zoom call to do this podcast? Their fucking baby wouldn't shut the fuck up and kept crying. So zen. Trying to be zen.
I'll all be okay. Oh my gosh, that takes me back. My apartment, my flat in France, the second one. There was a family that lived across the hall from us that had, oh my gosh, they must have had so many kids. I'm like, how do you all fit in that apartment? But anyway, that's not the point. I've seen some of those. The point is they must have had their living room like right on the other side of my bedroom wall because the TV, I could always hear the TV blasting and the kids screaming. One of them was a crier and it was always crying.
Oh no, that's
I wanted to be
so
the person like
unfortunate.
banging on the wall, but I was like, listen, I'm a visitor here. They live here permanently, so
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. It's a good
Maybe I
point.
should
That's
cool
what these
it.
people should. They don't know that about me.
true.
Maybe
Well,
they
they've been
do.
there
Maybe they
forever.
speak
You
English.
live there.
Imagine they speak English and they can understand us.
Oh
Me.
well, maybe they'll shut up then.
Here's the other thing. They're not even in my building. That's the building next door.
Oh,
So I really don't give a fuck about them. Do you hear that?
Okay.
Anyway, do you want to hear about the moaning neighbor?
Yeah.
So it was nighttime last night. Okay. As you know, as that's how day and night works, right? I'm asleep. I have been waking up like in my sleep for the past, like, it feels like the entirety of 2022. I don't know what's going on. But I wake up as I usually do, and I hear just like moaning coming from the like interior patio corridor thing here, right? Because my window's open. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I don't know what hour it was, but it was a Saturday to Sunday, and we just did have daylight savings time, so everyone got an extra hour last night. One of my neighbors decided to have incredibly loud intercourse in the middle of the night, and it woke me up. And I was just like laying there like, what is that noise? And I was like, oh my God, I know what that noise is. And I was like, I need to go back to bed. I need to get my extra hour of sleep in. And it was fine. But it was like so weird. It almost felt like I had dreamt it, because I also I had told myself that I had gotten my phone and written it down to tell you, but I didn't. So maybe it was all dreamt, but it felt like it was real.
You want to know what I dreamt the other night? No,
Do I?
but I'm going to tell you anyway. I was
Okay.
held hostage at gunpoint at the Faster Fuels gas station, the gas station that I always used to go to when I lived in Michigan still. It was not too far
Jesus.
from my work. And my cousin and I always called it the creeper gas station because the people inside would always watch you through the window. But there were two, like, depending on which
weird.
side your gas pump was on your car, there were two good gas pumps where no one could see you because you were, like, perfectly blocked. So I would always go, you know. But anyway,
it's still
creeper gas
gas
station. I had a dream that I was held at gunpoint.
What happened in the rest of the dream? Is that a stupid question?
Well, like, I was trying to call the police, and then I was texting someone I think I was trying to text my sister in the dream, like, help, held at gunpoint at the gas station, like,
Oh, right, held
please
at
save
gunpoint.
me.
Right.
And then the gunman saw me. He saw me texting, but then the dream
Did he
ended there.
shoot you?
So I was like, he probably did
So you
because I
didn't
woke
die in your
up.
dream?
Well, I woke up, so he probably did bang bang.
No, because you, quote unquote, aren't you supposed to like die in real life when you die in dreams?
Apparently.
Apparently, I don't know. We can get into
He
that
must
another
have
day.
been about to kill me because then I woke up.
True. I will say I have died in a dream, so if anybody out there wants to talk to me about that, I would love to know what that means.
So you're a ghost.
We don't have, I mean, we can get into this a little bit. I was shot in my dream in Afghanistan. We were like coming under fire. I was shot in the dream. I had got stuck in like the grate of a Jeep, and I got shot right where I have a birthmark on my chest, like on my torso. And I woke up in this dream, like I died, right? Like it faded to black, almost like it was cinematic. And then like, boop, new scene.
Of course, your death would be cinematic.
Well, no, like that's how, if you would imagine, it wasn't like cinematic from like a bird's eye point of view or something. But it like faded to black, like in the cinema. And then I woke up in a Greek temple full of bubbles, but it was a Greek temple that I had previously been to in a different dream that was also a town. But this time there was no town. It was just ruins and bubbles.
Okay,
So,
I remember the
someone explain
birthmark
that to me.
thing. I remember the birthmark thing, so you've definitely told me this before.
For sure,
I
for
remember
sure.
the
That's, like,
bubbles.
standard.
But I don't think you told me that you were stuck in the grill of a Jeep.
Oh, that's weird, because that's like always one of the, you know how you tell certain stories over and over again, you like hit the marks.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones I hit all the time, because that's how I was like, that's why I came up, like couldn't go anywhere. I got stuck in the grid of the Jeep, and I got
You
shot.
must have told me,
It was
but
painful.
I'm like, I feel like I would have remembered that part. Because all I can think of is like when animals get hit and they get stuck in there.
Oh, dark. Dark. Speaking of dark, terrible transition. Do you want to hear about
I want to hear. We
Italiano?
need an update on the Italian lesson. Do these oldies hate you still?
Well, let me tell you.
Or do they love you?
In the darkness that was the first episode, first class, there has been some light between now and then. Yes.
Good.
Not much. There's like darkness brewing in other areas. Let's put it that way. I don't know how to start this. I was really tired going to Italian class this week. Okay. I got about 4 hours of sleep because I was out with people. My friends they did a drag show for New York, like NYU, here in Madrid. And so we like went and we like saw, and then we just ended up like chatting at a bar after. And then we were just like chatting on the street after. Time goes by. It's 4 a.m. I get home at 5. I like got to get up by like, I set an alarm for like 9 because I'm like, I need at least like 2 hours before class starts before I like, because I'm going to be tired. I need to make sure I get up. So I get up and go. Make it just in the nick of time. Also, was not the last person. Today, if you remember from last week, was the exam. I was not the first person done with the exam. Actually, no, that's a lie. I was the first person done with the exam, but I was not the first person to say I was done because I was triple checking my work. You want to know who was first?
That bastard that squished you with the table.
Cane Man. Yeah.
Of course. Oh, yeah.
Of course, we're sitting across from each other again. And so I was like, great. My arch nemesis trying to one-up me, and he technically kind of did. Anyway, as we're doing the exam, the woman who like doesn't speak a lick of Italian and talks the whole time rolls up a little bit late. And then with her rolls up a random woman. And she's like, oh, this is my friend. And I was like, oh, no.
You could just bring a friend to class. Like,
well, the woman signed up, but like, you know, it was like her friend. She was like, oh, I signed up late. But like, it's my friend. And I was like, shit, this can't be good. Because like, I mean, I wouldn't even take anybody else in that class who like brings a friend along would probably be fine. But because it's the woman who talks the whole time and doesn't know a lick of Italian, I'm like, this woman has got to have crazy friends. And lo and behold, she was not well. I don't know her name, but she did sit next to me. And the whole time she just like kept putting her glasses on and off and like asking the dumbest questions. I was like, this is an advanced Italian course. Well, because
Chato thought she was like okay to take it. Obviously, the friend was like, "Oh, I can take it too."
Chato and Thelia, those are two different women.
Oh,
Chato, who is iconic, who is also late. She's the one with the dreamsicle hair and the dreamsicle eyebrows, who went to the convent or whatever to live, but not to do whatever. She's iconic. We do love Charo. We do not love Thalia, who does not speak a lick of Italian, and brought her friend this week. So essentially what ends up happening is we do this exam. There's like a culture section in the back of it. That's kind of like a joke, right? It's like, what's the capital of Italy? And there's like 1 right answer, 3 clearly wrong answers, right? So we go through it just to like, you know, talk about Italian things again, right? And the whole time, Thalia is like taking forever for us to move on, to the point where I have been rolling my eyes for at least an hour. Like I've been like, clicking the pen. I've just been like throwing the pen down, crossing the arms. Like I'm getting real fed up with Thalia asking the dumbest shit over and over again, to the point where the teacher says, stop asking me questions because you're not listening to the answers that I'm giving you. And you're asking them again. And I was like, work, Pierluigi. Pierluigi, work, bitch. But then also she's asking shit like this. Like, you'll get this. We say the words like dimmi, right? Like dime, like dis-moi, like tell me, right? And she goes, how do you spell it? To which I was like, how do you not know how to fucking spell that?
Dimmi, dime. Like there's literally one difference.
Well, there's two differences.
Two differences.
Well, that was the thing. She couldn't figure out the two differences.
Like,
yeah.
Come on.
She was like, what is the difference between D-I-M-I and D-I-M-M-I? And we were like, they're pronounced differently. And also, one is a word and one is literally not a word.
Yeah.
And she like couldn't get it through her thick skull. And to the point where I was like, I don't think you should be in this class if you can't figure this out.
She shouldn't.
Thank you. So then my arch nemesis, you know, it's like your enemy's enemy is your friend, or what's that phrase?
The friends of your enemies are your enemies, and the enemies of your enemies are your friends.
Okay, yes. The second half of that. Cane Man starts turning on Thalia, and I've already turned on Thalia. So guess who's now my friend?
Cane Man.
Cane Man, because what does he do? At one point, I say the answer correctly to something that was asked by the teacher. Nobody fucking hears me because everyone's chatting up a storm about God knows what. And the only person who hears me is Cane Man. And when the correct answer is said by the teacher, Cane Man goes, "Oh, Edward said the correct answer." I went, "Thank you."
Wow, a turn of events.
A turn. So that's when I was like, okay, the ice is thawing. We are, things are softening up between us, right? And then the 14th, 100th time that Thalia decides to interrupt to ask yet another dumb-ass question, Cane Man just decides to say, okay, let's move on to the next question. To which I was like, that's my boy. So
who would have thought? Here I was
truly
thinking like you were going to be knocking the cane out from underneath it after class one day.
It was giving that. It was giving that from not from first class. But things have changed. It's much better. And then I will say that Charo, iconic as always, got pissed also at Thalia because we were doing a listening activity right at the end, which I had to share with Thalia's friend because there wasn't enough photocopies, which was really annoying because she wasn't using the paper for anything.
She shared with her friends.
Well, she had to share with Jose, whatever, Luis or Antonio, I can't remember his name. It was annoying. But the point of the story is, while listening to it, we're doing the song. Do you know the song? It's by like Ricky e Poveri, I think is the name of the band. They're from like the 80s. You probably don't know. Sarà perché ti amo, I think is what it's called.
I don't know that I know that song.
It's very 80s. It's like I'm sure it's going to be a lip sync on Drag Race Italia at some point. Like it's that level, right? I only know it because I listen to too much Italian music, right? And especially the old stuff. They all know it because they were alive, and so that's why we're doing it. We're listening, and guess who is saying all of the answers to the blanks out loud as we're listening while we're writing?
Thalia.
Bingo.
But are they wrong?
Thalia. And what does Charo do? Charo goes, "Pierre, tell her to shut up." I was like, iconic. But she didn't say because she's saying the answers. Charo was saying because I can't hear. And I was like, oh, right. Everyone is old and hard of hearing. I was the person who had them all, not all correct, but like 90% of them correct. But like, at least I had something written down. And so I was like answering, and everyone was like, I don't know. I didn't hear. And I was like, it's this word. And I was like, my youthful ears coming into play.
They all needed to turn their hearing aids up.
Literally, I was like, I think we all need to take a class trip to the, what do you call that person?
Ear doctor. I don't know.
I was going to say audiologist, but that's not wrong.
Maybe.
Not right. Maybe. I think here it's like audiologia or something. So
Everybody gets hearing aids for Christmas.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be there for Christmas, which we're going to talk about
after the break.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Alyson here. Just wanted to say that we want to hear from you. So send us a message at 202-630-4509 or email us at amessagefrompod@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to rate and review and check out amfpod.com for bonus content. Now back to the show. Welcome back. As usual, we hope you enjoyed that break. I feel like it's been ages since I've been able to say that. So, yeah.
It was literally last week.
I said it last week?
Yeah, we alternate who starts.
I know, but I don't recall doing it last week. Anyway.
I don't recall either, but I know it happened because it had to.
We now have a very special message from a very special person. You!
This is giving like it's someone's like 7th birthday at the Chuck E. Cheese. Like, it's a very special person here today. It's a message from me. This is a excerpt from my latest newsletter of the 3rd, where I broke this news. And so it says, a few of you are already in the know, but it's time to bring everyone up to speed. It's official. I'm moving back to the United States. After a 7-year stint in Madrid, I'm packing most of it up, selling a bit of it, and donating the rest. I am choosing not to use this space to discuss everything that has led up to this decision. It's just not something I have been keen on explaining in text, or really at all. If you're remotely interested in this jarring shift in my personal brand, I'll be telling the whole saga on next week's episode of A Message From. But like, if you have my phone number, you can text me and I will send you a minimum of 10 voice messages. You've been warmed. Warned, not warmed.
Warmed.
You've been warmed.
Warm yourself up for all the voice messages you're going to receive.
Okay, so that is what's happening. I am moving back to the United States. But I do want to say, yes, cue the gasp. Oh my God, you definitely have no idea, Alyson. It is dramatic in terms of the trajectory of my entire life, but we'll get into that. Yeah?
I was going to say dramatic and traumatic.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yes, thank you. I did want to say that a couple people did reach out and ask for some voice messages. Mm-hmm. One of them was Bobby, who already knew. And I was like, Bobby, you already know. And he was like, send me 10 voice messages. So I sent him 10 voice messages that were each one word that said, like, I'm going to kill you for making me do this. So you
loved it. You cannot lie. You love a voice message. You love a good voice message.
True. But when it comes to this, I am truly like, this is like, the reason I want to do this here is because I want it done.
One
so
and done.
If anybody asks me questions, I can just be like, here's the link to this. Here's the timestamps.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm done talking about this. Now that it's like officially come to a close in terms of like what's been going on, I'm done talking about it after today. And in about 13 to 14 to 15 more minutes, I'm done talking about this.
Yeah. Well, it's a big step. So, you know.
It is. It is. So where do we begin?
Where do we begin? Okay. I have a couple of questions. But they're a bit specific, right?
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, sure.
I guess let's start broad first.
What happened?
What happened? Yeah, give us the basics. The basics.
All right. So it was the year 2021, which is last year, which feels like 400 years ago.
80 years
ago. In terms of what's been going on. I finished my school year, was going to work with the school again, but I'd received an offer to work with another company. Truly just like completely switch careers, which like godsend, really what I wanted, truly. Not sarcasm. That sounded like sarcasm. And then I would also be given a work visa, which is like the only thing I have ever wanted in all of my 20s. Like, I've only ever wanted this. So it was like, it was great. They were like, yeah, we're willing to sponsor. Yep. The job seemed great. It was like something interesting that I wanted to do, blah, 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 blah. So that's what happens. I renew my visa. Turns out I needed to wait for my visa to be renewed for it to be modified. So I had to renew my student visa to then have the student visa approved so that I had a visa that could then be modified because I've been told that you can't do 2 things at once. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yes.
Cool. That part trips a lot of people up. So this took a very long time. So, what was it? This was like July 2021, June 2021?
Yes, June, July, because I remember you kind of talking about this, and when I was planning to come visit you, like you were going to have an expired visa. So it was like a point of concern.
Yes, right, because you came in August. So, like, I had renewed it, blah, 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 was going to start the school year, but was told that this wouldn't take very long. So, after many discussions with many people, I decided to do something that was against my own principles. And I told the school before the school year started, technically, like a couple days before, I was like, I am not participating this year, so that they had an ample opportunity to find somebody to take my place. Because I really liked the school and the school was very nice to me and I didn't want to do them dirty. the past 6 years of my life here, all I have preached is do the school dirty. They don't care about us. They can find another person to replace us, right? It's very easy, which just Control-C, Control-V in terms of auxiliars. And so I did that. I was a good person, and it backfired hardcore because this took so long that I was obviously sans job, even though I had my visa was being renewed.
Yeah.
Couldn't work. So I go back to the US the first time, do a little stint, come back. February 2022, I think it was. I think.
You came back in January 2022.
Yeah, but it was I got the text, I got the approval for my visa to be my student visa was approved. Right before I was in in Barcelona. And I think that was February. But it could have been March. Who knows? It was around then. And that's when things started to get a little weird. And the company, just didn't get their shit together and couldn't figure it out. The lawyer I was using to do this is my friend. So he was I don't understand why they can't figure this out. We're texting on the side, right? Being I don't understand why they can't figure this out. And I'm I don't get it either. And I'm just hounding them every 2 weeks being what's the update? What's the update? What's the update? They lots of excuses, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I end up getting ghosted by this company. What was this May?
I think so.
I think it was. Seems
April,
right.
May.
Yeah, it feels like May. Maybe late April. Yeah, sorry. I got sidetracked there. I went into my own space in my own head. So yeah, and that's when I realized, babes, we're in deep trouble. Because if I can't renew my student visa, because I didn't complete a program, and if my visa's not being modified, then that leaves little Miss Edward without a visa. And so what happens? Little Miss Edward is left without a visa at the end of July. July 31st, 2022, my, at this point, 6-year visa or whatever, 7-year visa, kaput. All those years, gone.
And that's the hard thing too, right? All those years. And you would think that it would count for something.
You would think, well, they count, but they count as half because they're student visas. Because 5 years on a regular visa, you can apply for residency. But you would need 10 on a student visa. Anyway, so it came to, I'm on a tourist visa now. And so my tourist visa expires at the beginning of December. And so that's when little Miss Edward needs to shove off and move out of Europe.
And come back to the motherland.
Oh, let's not call it the motherland. But that's the whole story. I mean, I don't know, but that's enough background. Did I miss anything? You've been here the whole time.
No, I think you covered everything.
Yeah.
It was just very much you said it right. Why couldn't this company get it together? It's
was
just
weird.
The most European thing ever. Because it's they sought you out. They wanted you. They said, no, we're willing to wait for you. We're willing to work with you.
Yeah.
So
I was okay, great.
What's so hard?
Well, the excuses started getting really weird. At first they got the visa that they needed to figure out wrong. And my lawyer was okay, this is actually not that. It's a different one that's not expensive. It's cheap. And so they were oh, okay. And then the director went on pregnancy leave. And, this is the one time I was goddamn European laws where, you get pregnancy leave for a very long time,
80 years, yeah.
I was God damn it. But they were she's the one who has to get certain paperwork. And I'm but if she's not around, shouldn't somebody else be doing her job? Or that was weird.
No one else in the company can do her responsibilities while she's gone for what? At potentially a year? How long was her leave?
Yeah, it depends. But it depends on if her husband or partner gives her
if
their half.
Too, yeah.
It could be. I mean, I've seen teachers for 1 week and then all of a sudden 2 years later I've been oh, you're still here, So I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
The excuses were very weird. Don't know why they couldn't get it together. Don't know. But it wasn't meant to be. It's what I gotta tell myself. What was your
It wasn't meant to be. You have to tell yourself that and just believe it, because that's the that's how it goes.
It's the goddamn truth.
My battery is about to die.
Oh no.
Somebody should have planned ahead and plugged the computer in, but somebody left the cord sitting right next to the computer and didn't plug it in.
Oh, okay. Are you good?
So I'm good. We're good. We're good.
Okay, we're good.
So I have a more lighthearted question for you.
Sure, let's get into more lighthearted stuff. I'm done being a depressive little shit about it.
You said that you are packing most of it up, selling a bit of it, and donating the rest. So I want to know what you're selling and what you're donating, and if anything is hard for you to part with. Like, what's the most interesting item you're selling and the most interesting item you're donating?
Okay, these are good questions. I literally wrote on my to-do list, like, sell stuff this week. Like, it's time to, like, pack the stuff. So I don't really know exactly. I mean, like, most interesting thing I'm selling is the film scanner that I have, probably. Which I'm like, I gotta finish because I gotta, get enough time to sell it. But donating is mostly clothes. Like, it's just clothes are being donated, because why would I bring those with me? Not all of them need to come. It's time to part ways with a good 3/4 of my closet. What else did I say? Packing? What about packing?
What? Well, you said you're packing most of it. Like, what is something that you just, like, cannot leave behind, that you're like, I have to bring this with me?
Oh, the 3 stacks of books sitting on my living room floor right now. More specifically, like, there's a bunch of books that, like, I truly cannot part with. But almost more importantly, there is a basket full of notebooks over the past 7 years that are completed that I refuse to part with. Like, even like planners, even like those must come with me. So that's annoying. I have to figure that out. There's a lot of very heavy things that need to be packed. Heavy.
That's a hard thing. Like, a lot of the most important stuff is always heavy. Why does it have to be heavy?
I know. And I mean, it would be one thing if it was like, 2 years here, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's mostly just clothes and a few, like, tchotchkes. But like 7 years is a lot of clothes, a lot of things, and a lot of tchotchkes. Like, oof.
Actually, I think in my brain, I might have just answered my own question. What about plants? Do you have any plants that you're sad to leave behind?
Most plants I have already sold when I moved into this flat. I did bring an olive tree with me. That died over the summer, so I am not. Well, it's still dead right next to me. It needs to be thrown away. But no, I don't have to worry about that, which is kind of nice, actually. I was a little bit sad to part with plants before, but you get over it. I already forget which plants I owned. That's
good to know, because I've mentioned this before, so often I think of just, like, selling everything and disappearing and just going. But I'm always like...
You can't disappear, we have a podcast.
Well, disappear.
Just like a voice scrambler and like a face blur.
I would love that.
Yeah, I know you would.
But I look at my plants and I'm like, these are my children. Like, my plants. I would feel so sad. You could get rid of that sick one. Them. Listen, the sick one is healing. It went through a rough patch. Okay. It was partially my fault.
Oh.
So the plant, like, when the new sprouts come out the top, there was like a group of new sprouts that looked like they were like not separating quickly like they should, like they normally do. Because normally they start spreading at the top and right away they start all the little, like, fronds or whatever start separating.
Yeah.
But these ones were still like all tucked together and I was like, that's weird. So I started like picking them apart. And then I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. Because all of those ones from that group were like damaged now. So they were all dying. So there was a whole like section that were, dying off. And so it was getting droopy and sad. But
it does not look like the one in the background.
No, that one perky
She's a
as
stunner.
ever.
Yeah.
But it's part of that same plant.
Right.
She's improving, but she looks pretty bedraggled still.
Bedraggled. What a word. I do want to say, and this dawned on me, kind of like while I was getting ready to write that intro to the newsletter, was that I have spent like literally all of my 20s in Europe. When I say jarring brand shift or jarring shift in my personal brand, it's my brand. Is that like I'm not a person who lives in the United States.
Okay, but I think you need to take a step back and be like, why do I have a brand and why is it like
amazing?
driving every aspect of my life.
Oh, it's because I'm a Capricorn. But here's some empirical evidence of my brand is when I was talking about this more recently with my father, I was like, I don't know. I just like don't really want to move back to the US. Like I really do want to try to like figure out a way to stay, you know, back when that was still possible. To which he just like very off the cuff replied, oh, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't think you'll be in the US for very long. And I was like so taken aback by it for some reason, just because it like no one had said that to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess a lot of people just sort of assume that I'm not going to be in the US for a while because it is my, for lack of a better word, my vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But truly, all of my 20s, I started studying abroad when I was 20 and leaving at 29. I was out of Europe for like a year and a half, maybe. That's a long time.
It is a long time.
I mean, it's also just long, like in
Your
general.
formative years. Your youth. You're
My
old
youth?
now.
I know.
Your youth is dying.
It's a lot going on at once, like turning 30, moving back to the US. Like it's too much. Selling all my shit, going through my Saturn return. Like I'm done. I need a win.
It's a lot at once.
I need a win. I need a win so bad.
You do need a win.
I need a win.
But what is a win to you? You don't need to answer this right now.
Moving back to Europe with a job.
Okay, well, there you go. Answer done. And that's it. The end.
I did also want to say, and this is the last thing I will say, is that I don't know what to do about my Instagram bio now. Which I know sounds very funny, but let me read it to you because it's not going to ring true when I move back. My Instagram bio is international treasure. I'm not an international treasure when I move back. What am I going to do?
Domestic trash. There you go.
Listen, I'm not trying to take over your brand, okay? All right. If anybody has any questions, you can contact me at a message from.
I didn't think you were going to make that offer.
No, I mean, I guess if somebody has questions, like reach out to me. Like, sure. But do not expect me to like explain the situation more.
Just hit rewind on the pod and listen to it as many times as you need to.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you have questions for us about anything at all, or want to share a story or a message or a little jingle,
a little happy birthday message.
Yeah, a little happy birthday message in a couple of months. You can give us a call at 202-630-4509. You can send us an email, a message from pod@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that jazz, add a message from, and we will talk to you all next time. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.